broke the cork off.
Oh, that's puke. Ugh.
Okay. I don't know what to do. Maybe I'm just sensing some umami on this. Because, ooh, mama, that's good. I still haven't found my first Blanton's. Howdy, it's Wednesday. We're doing a little bit early tonight. My daughter's graduating from college tomorrow and wants me to go. So I guess I'll be doing that tomorrow night, which is why we're doing it just a little bit early here tonight, a day early than we normally do it. We're going to get into this Thomas S. More, and I'll tell you right now, I cannot see who's here. I cannot read comments because I've got all my stuff here. I wasn't able to print it out tonight. I got to do it off the phone, so we'll just hop right into it. As whiskeys from I'm going to tell you honestly where this is all coming from. When I don't have time to do a lot of research on my own, I can go to breakingbourbon.com and I can find out a lot of stuff about bourbons, mash bills, all sorts of things. They are a somewhat regular source. And then I normally spend the time to do a bunch of other stuff, another research. And like, for instance, Breaking Bourbon doesn't always have mash bills or age statements and things like that, or they don't have enough history. So sometimes I'll go through and I'll find other sources and I'll learn more about the distilleries and the master distillers and all that stuff. But tonight, because I have no time, it was that kind of day. I went to calling hours a little while ago, and which is where the photo came from, I'll be honest. I am sick and depraved. Here's the photo. That was taken at the funeral home. So, yes, I'm sick and depraved. Anyway, so it's just been that kind of a day. It's been fast and furious. Calling hours, it was a woman, when I moved into the city that I'm in now, we moved into this beautiful apartment. It was a duplex. It was gorgeous. They had just redone it. Lovely. And she and her husband were the landlords. Well, she passed away recently, a few days ago, and tonight was her calling hour. So I decided to stop by to pay respect to the family because of how well we were treated by this landlord. She was a lovely lady, and so was her husband. Very nice man. So anyhow, that's what it was all about. Nothing big, no family. I'm not grieving here. All right, so as whiskeys from Barton 1792 Distillery continue to receive global acclaim, the distillery introduced an ultra-premium brand. The range of Thomas S. More Kentucky Straight Bourbon whiskeys has been finished in a variety of select casks from around the world. The first three expressions were available in December 2020. There was a port finish, a Cabernet Sauvignon finish, and a Chardonnay finish, and this one is the Cabernet Sauvignon cask. 1889, Thomas S. More built the distillery known today as Barton 1792 Distillery. Okay, I like that. I like how they tied it all in. That's great. More was an early pioneer in Bardstown, recognized today as the bourbon capital of the world. Leading up to Prohibition, More established a constantly evolving whiskey empire, growing his humble operation into a powerhouse distillery, filling hundreds of barrels of whiskeys every day. Business boomed until the 18th Amendment forced the distillery to cease production in 1920. Today, this namesake line of bourbons intends to honor Thomas S. More, a innovative bourbon pioneer. So, there you go. That's what I have there. There is another page. Excuse me. This one, I find out a little bit more. This one, according to this, is that right? 98.3 proof. This says 97.9, but I think this is 98.3 proof. Really tough to read. It's shiny. See what else it says on it. 47.65% alcohol by volume. And it has a whole thing there with print that is way too small for me to even attempt to read. And then somewhere on here is the pulley tabby thing right there. pulley tabby thing. It's a pulley tabby thing. Yeah. All right. Pulley tabby thing. So, interestingly, of course, Barton 1792 Distillery is owned by Sazerac. Sazerac are the same people that own Buffalo Trace, Weller, such and so on. This normally goes for about $70, at least it did in 2020. The age statement is undisclosed, of course. The mash bill is undisclosed, of course. So there's not a lot of extra information I can give you this. So Chardonnay barrels and Cabernet Sauvignon barrels, those are still not used a lot in finishing, but they are being used more. I point you towards Derringer from Rabbit Hole, Legent, which is a little different than that. But port wine finishes are starting to get very popular. Of course, you know, Angel's Envy and a bunch of the other ones. But wine, Chardonnay and Cabernet Sauvignon still just a little bit on the thin side. Let me go to the Book of the Face and get caught up and make sure that, make sure nobody's watching. Or that somebody is watching. Whoop, talking to my... Let me turn that down. Okay. That's much better. All right, well, let's try this. Let's get into it. This is the Thomas S. More. This is the one, I was talking about this last week. This is the one that I was in Kentucky, and I had bought several bundles because I wanted to complete my Blanton's collection, and they had these Blanton's collections available. And I said, well, let me get a bunch of them. So I bought like 3 of them, 2 or 3. And in the one bundle was a bottle of Basil Hayden. And you know how I feel about Basil Hayden. I don't like Basil Hayden. I can deal with it. I don't like it. And if I have the opportunity to buy something else, I'm going to buy something else. I had never had this one. It was sitting on the shelf. It was more expensive a little bit than the Basil Hayden. Basil Hayden's like up into the $60 range or something like that. It's not worth it. But that's just me. Anyway. So I had the option to do this, and the person who was running the store said, oh, yeah, I've been hearing a lot of good things about that. I think you're going to like that one. So I'm like, okay, let's trade the 2 out. And he did, or she did. No, he did. They did. I don't remember. It's been a few years ago. And so I got the Thomas S. More. And here it is, 2025, and I've yet to open it. Well, now I have. So let's get into it. All right. And I just ate hamburgers like less than a half hour ago, and they had onions on them. So I know that's going to just throw me off, and I feel terrible about it. But I was hungry, and I love onions on a hamburger. So, but they're red onions, so they weren't super crazy. All right, but that is going to maybe throw my palate off a little bit. I know some people when they taste. Who's the guy with the guide? He has the whiskey Bible, Jim Murray. The stuff that he does to get ready for a whiskey tasting, like he'll go a day without eating anything. Get himself in a sensory deprivation situation where he can't smell anything. The guy takes it super seriously. Of course, he gets paid to do it. And he writes the whiskey Bible. I just come here and act a fool. All right. The wine notes are very present, but they're not crazy. No, there's other stuff coming through. There's vanilla, and there's got me that time. Some cinnamon, some raisin. Vanilla, cinnamon, raisin. Maybe a little caramel or caramel if you have a degree. Although the caramel note is really, really small. I had to search for it. The fruit note is quite nice, actually. At almost 100 proof, it's hanging on that glass. There's another note there. I can't tell you what it is. Believe it or not, I just got a note of popcorn. I don't know why it hit me that way. I don't like popcorn, but as far as a note on bourbon, it's not unpleasant. Yes, I know. Let me have it. Casey, you don't like popcorn? You're un-American. Ah. I don't like popcorn. I don't like the way it smells. I really hate the way it smells after it's been burned. I hate the way it tastes. I hate the way it feels in my mouth. I hate the way it sounds when other people are eating it near me. It's repulsive. It repulses me. There are very few foods on this earth that repulse me, but popcorn is one of them. And you can't help it. You go into a movie theater and that's what you smell. Did I tell you I don't like popcorn? All right, let's get to it. Very slow bloom. Hit me on the top of my mouth instead of the tongue predominantly. A little bit is appearing on the tip of my tongue now. That is a thick mouthfeel. And that probably sounds a little less attractive than I mean it to. That is a thick, very viscous mouthfeel. This may be the thickest mouthfeel on a dram of whiskey that I have ever had. Definitely not thin. Duh. Okay. The little bit that I was able to glean off of the palate on that first sip, which was more of a gulp, sorry, was not overly wine-ish. I'm actually rather surprised by it. And I don't know how long it sat in the secondary barrel. I don't know how long it was in the Cabernet Sauvignon barrel, but it doesn't take long, right, to really infuse yourself. So maybe it was there like a week. I don't know, but it wasn't crazy. It wasn't horrible. All right. All right. I know, I gulped. That's going to make me burp now. All right. That's actually quite lovely. Really nice caramels coming out. It's got an earthy note, an oaky note. Of course, it's going to sit in your white oak barrels for however long it sits there, and then they're going to finish it in a Cabernet barrel, which is white oak. So you're going to get some of those tannins from the wine as well. So that earthy, that stemmy. It's not like it's you're chewing on a bush or anything like that, but it's got a very earthy side to it, which grounds it some. I know. Earthy grounds. It's very, very punny. I was not intending to be punny. It just happens sometimes. It just happens. Anyway. This is a very pleasant pour. I'm having trouble digging some of the notes out of it. The caramel is something that came out right away. Other notes are being obfuscated by the fact that this sat in a wine barrel. And those wine notes, even though they're not strong, I'm going to sneeze. I'm not done. When I sneezed, my back cracked. That's going to hurt later. I sneezed hard. Okay, maybe I am done. Maybe that's it. All right. Beautiful. I was listening to a radio show today, and the host was on live, but he was also streaming on Facebook at the same time. And I guess he had a mic that he could like hit the button and kill it, so he could sneeze and nobody would hear him sneeze. But you still see him sneeze, right? He's live streaming it. Now I don't know if it kills the live stream. It would seem interesting if he did that. And he sneezed twice, he said. But he had to follow up on all the comments on Facebook as they said, bless you. It's amazing what people want to do to get attention in these comments of these radio hosts. It's fun. All right. Okay. There's a dark fruit, like a prune, or a unripe plum. I think I sneezed a mustache hair right into my mouth. That's fun. Not really. Caramel notes are there. Cinnamon notes are certainly there. They are more. There's less cinnamon there than the caramel. I will say this though, I'm getting a rye spice note on the palate for sure. There's a spiciness to this. I have no idea what the mash bill is. It's undisclosed. But if I had to guess, I would tell you that this is going to be a little bit on the higher rye side. Like, if my benchmark is 18% rye, I might tell you that this one has got at least that, maybe 22% rye on this mash bill. I don't know. I'm guessing. I'm speculating. But there's a spiciness to this that seems to transcend its just under 100 proof sip. So, yeah. Let's give it one more try. We'll stick it on some water. The balance of bourbon notes and Cabernet notes here are just perfect. The balance between whiskey and wine, just really, really, really well done. Just, again, and it's not overly sweet because of the earthy notes. It's just a really well blended bottle of whiskey. Finished bourbon. So, yeah. Me likey. I'm not going to say it's in my top 10 or 15 or 20. And my palate tends to be pretty wide. I tend to like things that other people would turn their nose up at because it's not what they're used to. It's like if you go to McDonald's every single day and you love McDonald's and you know what to expect, and then for some reason somebody brings you a Wendy's cheeseburger, it's going to be different for you. And you might say, I don't like it. It don't taste like McDonald's. Well, I've been tasting over 260 whiskeys. So my palate is particularly wide, and I find that I like more than I dislike. I find something about it that I like, if I can. There are some that are puke. But those are on the rare side rather than on the norm side. All right, so add a little wah-wah. Beep, boop. Just do 2 drops and see what happens to it. I thought, considering I went to calling hours today, this shirt was appropriate. Matter of fact, I got showered up and I wore this shirt under my nice suit. Life happens, bourbon hips. Life happens. Death happens too. I need to get one of those. Bourbon can't really help that, I don't guess. Helps everybody that's left behind, I suppose. My friend Nancy told me this morning that she's sick, and I said, I recommend bourbon. I didn't hear back from her, so either she ignored it or she got into it. She's not a big drinker like I am. All right. So this is with a little bit of water on it, 2 drops. It did nothing. Absolutely nothing. It changed nothing. Okay. This is a fresh crack, so it's not like it's set there. It's not like, you know, it's not open. I don't know. Let's do maybe. Beep, boop. Can you imagine if everything in life had a sound effect? Wouldn't that be fun? Or annoying? You know, you're at night, you're laying next to your spouse, and you're like, I think I'll read something. Do you have to read now? Do you have to make that noise? I'm sorry. I didn't mean to make that noise. Man, I got something in my eye. Wouldn't it be fun? Like for a minute? Like for maybe 10 minutes? Can you imagine the things that can you imagine the things that you'd be experimenting with? Now, don't be dirty. That's not what this is about. I don't. Stop. I can feel the vibe. I can feel what you're thinking, and stop. All right, so we add an extra 2 drops of water. Yeah. to this. You have dirty minds. I can tell. Shame on you. That changed it some. It really thickened that mouthfeel. Where it was buttery before, now it's like sloppy buttery. I mean, it is thick. It is a thick mouthfeel. And 4 drops of water really thickened it up even more. It's like drinking gravy. Which I'm not complaining about. I'm going to put this over potatoes. I'm not going to put it over potatoes. You can do a sound effect for this. That's similar to the other ones, and I got to think of something different. No, I can. Anyway, it's okay. That joke has run its course. Let's move on. The thing that I noticed when you open it up with water is the earthy notes are stronger. It becomes a little less sweet and a little more earthy, a little more oaky. Maybe a little more woody. That's the one thing that I noticed differently when I put the extra 2 drops of water on it. So there's a good chance that this is going to settle down and be even more earthy after it opens. But, I mean, we'll see. We'll see. Brian, save me a small pour. I can do that. I'm glad you're here, Brian. Good to see you. All right, so earlier I was looking for my ice mold because I wanted to be able to use ice, right? That's what we do as we try ice on these things. Well, it turns out that my ice mold is right here, and it still has all the water in it from last week. I must have just let it sit here and not refilled it. I'm looking in all the freezers going, what in the heck? So I will fess up. I am using a used and abused, halfway gorgeous ice sphere. Still, I mean, held up. It's got some lines on it that shouldn't be there, but that's okay. I don't mind. It says see more. It means you said more. Save me a small pour. I have a couple one-off small batch to share with you. Ooh. Ooh. I like the way that sounds. Share it away. But I will save you some of this. funny. You didn't get to see the beginning, Brian, so I'll just say this is the Thomas S. Moore Cabernet Sauvignon Cask. It is a project of Barton 1792 Distillery in Bardstown, owned by Sazerac, the same people who own Buffalo Trace. It is for sitting for however long in that secondary cask, that Cabernet Sauvignon cask. It's not as sweet as you might think it would be. As a matter of fact, if you're thinking of a Cab Sauv, it's going to be more tanniny. The sweetness, I can imagine that being in the Chardonnay. They got a Chardonnay cask too, but I didn't buy that one. I like Cab Sauv. So, but I think they blend very, very well. All right, let's finger stir this bad boy. This will be the second and final mission for this particular ice sphere. Get this cooled down, see what happens to it. I would love to think that something like this would be delicious in a New York sour. I won't know. I mean, I wish I would have thought about it ahead of time. I would have made a New York sour sitting here. But if you find this bottle, give it a shot. See what you think. It's things like this that I like to experiment with. All right, so what's this like? The wine notes really come out on the ice. The earthy side of it really disappears and the wine notes come out. Ah, there's the earthiness on the finish. It's like it took, when you're drinking it neat, and particularly neat, all the flavors are still together. This separates it almost into stages. It's like it gives you the wine, and then it gives you the earth. It's kind of interesting. I think it'd be great in a mixer. I think it's great the way it is. I like it neat better than on water and on ice. But on ice, it takes on some different characteristics, and I think it'd be a pretty decent mixer, honestly. All right, so what are we doing next week? Well, I picked this one up a while ago. Of course, I have that about everything. And this one is the Nashville Barrel Company. This is a 7-year small batch straight bourbon whiskey. It is cask strength. I have heard nothing but good about this particular company, the Nashville Barrel Company. And the one that I found, there was a rye and there was a bourbon. And I had picked up the rye first, not knowing that I had picked up the rye. Walking around with it, oh, I'm so good, we pick it up. And then I realized I'm carrying a rye, so I put it back and grabbed the bourbon. 7 years, it's 120.22 proof, 60.11% alcohol by volume. So this is going to be a hot one. But we're going to do this one next week. We're going to try this bad boy out and see how it fits. It's like taking it into a dressing room at Walmart. Doesn't fit. You better give me another one. Okay. All right. Well, thank you for watching. I do appreciate it. We're here as often as we can. I'm supposed to be here tomorrow night, but again, the daughter graduating college tomorrow. She's going to be a nurse. And she said, you ought to be there, Dad. I said, but it's Bourbcast night. She said, Dad. I was like, okay, fine. So we're doing it tonight. So in the silence of your home, with a whiskey in your hand, give her a little cheers and say congratulations and way to go on your graduation. So we will see you next week again. It's going to be that Nashville Barrel Company. It's a barrel-proof small batch, and I am actually really looking forward to that one. So you take it easy, and we will see you then.